Well, ladies and gents, welcome to Saturday morning. There's a few little jobs I want to get done in here today. One of them's on that girl, so I'm going to have a go at changing out behind these pipes that run into the engine block. There are some nuts, and apparently there's some rubber washers in there that are leaking. That's why I've got moisture kicking around down the side of the engine. So that's the first job to try and get done, and if I can find where I put them, oh, these are them. So they just look like little O-rings, thick washers. That to do. Land Rover needs back in again because I need to grease up in the front pivot housing. I'll explain that when I get it in, and there's something else I need to do as well, but we'll get there. Right, so the first really exciting job we've got to do is grease up all these grease nipples are here, and that one, and that one. So there's 4 U-joys like this, and then there's, I can't remember if there's 1 or 2 that are on the actual shaft itself to help the sliders. So yeah, need to just grease them up. We are still looking a bit wet underneath, which is not good. I think I've actually got a leak from, I think it's a pickup pipe from the bottom of the engine, which hindsight's 2020. I should have done when I did the oil change, but I forgot all about it. Right, so finally greased that one up. I had to roll the truck back a little bit because the grease nipple was in the wrong part. So because these shafts aren't always straight, they tighten up at the top and then loosen at the bottom, as in the gap between both parts of the UJ. While I was down there, I just noticed this. Now I'm surprised that didn't get picked up on the MOT, because that bolt's loose, or loose, a little bit loose, and that one I've just clicked it in about 4 turns, and that's the basically strengthening bar across the underside of the chassis, which you kind of want, I think. But yeah, so I'll just tighten them up before they vacate the vehicle. Right, so that's it, done. Prop shafts are greased up. I did those bolts on the underneath the gearbox. There was actually another bolt loose, so there's 3 bolts out of 4 that were loose, or had come slack. So I just nipped them up. I'll have to keep an eye on them so she can go out. Right, so back to another job I've not done before, so we're learning. So yeah, we've got these little, well, they're almost like calf rings, to be fair, but just little rubber rings. Because I had a word with Paul Howard, if anybody knows him from the UK and the MB track and Unimog scene. I was talking to him about all this leakage. You can just see it's a big wet patch. He said there was a little rubber behind these, and I was like, I thought it was the injectors. He was like, no, it's all right. He says you just undo them, pull pipes out, and sling them in. So I don't know how well you'll see it on that one. But the rubber's quite gone in it, so I need to get those out. It looks like there could be a washer in there as well. There's not much of a rubber left, so I've got 6 of them to do. I've got to take the fuel filters off because they were hung here, which obviously blocks 3 of them. And we'll see what happens with that one. 5. There's another one as well. 6. Bugger, so I'm going to have to take the aircon pump off as well. It's not what I wanted to do, to be fair. But we have time, so yeah, there's another one here. So yeah, there should be 1, 2, 3 bolts, I think. I'll hold it on, and then guess we'll take that off. But I'll start this end and get these ones done. So I'm not too far in front or behind myself, hopefully. Well, we're getting somewhere. Hopefully you'd seen I was struggling to get to these ones, so air compressors come off. There are a couple of bits. So this is the fuel filter holding bit. That was the first one to go onto that back plate. Then that was padded out by what looks like a lifting point for the engine, and that little packer went behind there. So they need to go back on, and then that goes on front of all that. So that's good. Cracked off all the injectors lines now. So all I've got to do is try and get, well, whatever happens in there out. Yeah, should be fun. So I'm going to have to have a quick play around with that. I just tried to brush up around the outsides of them as well. I should have done that really before I cracked the nuts off, but hindsight. So yeah, right, we'll try and get these pulled out. Hopefully now I've got enough room just to wiggle them out, but we'll see. Right, so I just had to have a quick word with Paul Howard again. Cheers, Paul. He was saying that I need to, apparently these are a nut as well, so I just need to undo them a bit, just to help me free everything up and get the rubbers out. So I'll give that a try and see what happens. You know those jobs you never wanted to start? Yeah, so, right. I've managed to get the first one out and the rubber out. And the rubber is here. You can't see it very well, but this edge to the right hand side has completely disappeared. It should be right at the left hand edge, but I've chewed a bit anyway. What I didn't realise as well is these have a split in them from new, like that, so you can just pop them over. So what I've got is I've undone these nuts. If you want to know what's behind it, that just goes into cylinder head, I believe. So I kind of pulled that back and got it jammed a little bit, and then twiddled it and fizzled it, and got myself a little pick. So just to try and find where that split was, if I can get where the split is, and just pry it out. And then my old man very kindly bought me some pliers, which I thought I'd never use, but the real thin nosed on them. So just got that in there. So what does happen as well, as we found, and Paul told me, was the rubber actually comes past this little washer. So you've got the cap at the end, you've got the washer, and then you should have the rubber that fits into there and seals behind at the bottom, because there's nothing on that side. Ooh, I'll show you. There's nothing. All it is there is just a pipe. Yeah, so that can go back in there. And basically the washer just pushes everything in there and shoves it in and seals it. So just don't want to get muck in there. So yeah, just need to pop a rubber back on over the top of that, push that back in, screw that back in, and it's done. I did undo these as well from the injector, just to make life a bit easier, bit more wiggle room. So as Paul said, if you've got these 352As in a MOG, it's a lot harder, because obviously you've got the cab, and the cab panels, footwells pretty much drop down the side. So yeah, just got another 5 more to go, which is going to be fun. Right, we're getting there, finally. Now I'm just having a chocky bicky. So last one out to do. I couldn't get the bloody washer out, so I just had to poke around and found them. Yeah, use them just to pull it out. Not exactly what it's designed for, but it worked. So just need to work the rubber out now. But as you can see, they're looking mangled, and not all of that's me either. So right, last one out, we'll put new ones on. I've just been out to go get some carb cleaner, just to basically clear out the inside of that before I put the rubber in, just so it's clean and muck. Also, while I was out as well, I picked up 25 litres for Land Rover vial. Got some TFR, because, well, that needs a wash, that needs a wash, and my truck needs a wash. And of all the things that I've got, distilled water, and that's for this old girl. So by the time I've ended up putting everything back together and actually freeze back in it, I might as well put decent water in, because it's quite heavy out here on the estate. Even in town it's not great, so I want this thing to last for a long time. Right, let me get sorted out when I'll be back. Right, we're done. So everything's back in place now. I did crack all these lines off, so I've just tightened them back up again. That just gives you a little bit of flex in them. Big nuts are all tightened up, and the little nut in front's tightened up. And to get the rubber in, it was just kind of a case of pushing and pulling and moving pipe around a bit, because none of the pipes are just squaring, they're all kind of a little bit off. That was all right. Bolts back in here. I did lose one little M8, so I've just put a stainless steel one in, which should be fine. And then just bolted back up the fuel filters. Bracket was on. I did actually leave the little bracket that's in there, or behind there, off, so I had to undo it all. But, and I also need a new belt, because I cut the old one off, because I've actually got that belt, and the other belts all on order. So whilst the radiator's off, it'll be easy just to do them all in one go. So yeah, not too bad. That's taken me about 3-4 hours all in to get them out and done first time, which I don't think's too bad going. But yeah, definitely needed to pick a little pick, a sharper one as well for those rubbers to pull them out. Those little pliers that I had were really good. And a 24mm nut for the big nut, 19 for the little one, 19 for the ones that hold that on, and then 17s I think it was to hold those ones on, and I think it was a 13 for the little one. So bit of an array of sizes, but not too bad. It's done job. So yeah, right, I've got another little project to go finish, but you guys won't be seeing that. It involves a lift pump like that. So yeah, that's going to be it for today for you guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, bye.